Krabby's Japanese name is Crab. What more could you ask for in a name? Krabby is a crab, and that alone is perfection. I would have been okay with Krabby being called Crab internationally, but Krabby is an adorable modification nonetheless. Kingler's name is also great. Kingler is such a good name that the Japanese, English, Spanish, German, and Italian versions of Pokemon use Kingler as its name. I have to hand it to the French though. Crab Boss is a top tier translation.
Crab people, crab people.
Krabby has an attack stat of 105. For the first 10 years of Pokemon's history, Krabby had the highest attack stat of all first stage Pokemon, not counting Cubone holding a thick club. Even to this day, this attack stat is still impressive for an unevolved Pokemon, having more attack than metagame titans like Infernape, Zygarde, and Carnivine. It took until Diamond and Pearl for Cranidos to surpass Krabby, and while 125 attack is amazing, it's debatable if you're ever going to utilize that attack stat. Kingler's hella strong too. Kingler had the highest attack stat of all water types for almost 2 decades. Mega Gyarados snatched that title in X and Y, but bro needed a Mega Stone to obtain this power, while Kingler naturally achieved its perfect form.
Crab people, crab people.
Crabhammer is the greatest name for an attack of all time. Before Walmart Krabby ripped off real Krabby, Crabhammer was the signature move of Krabby and Kingler. When it was introduced in Generation 1, it had 90 base power with a heightened critical hit chance and 85% accuracy. However, due to Gen 1's crit mechanics, Crabhammer always resulted in a critical hit for Kingler, and almost all the time for Krabby. It lost the auto crit ability in Gen 2, but it would eventually receive some buffs, getting an accuracy boost in Gen 5 and a base power boost in Gen 6. Over time, more crustacean Pokemon would receive Crabhammer, but by Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Game Freak would commit the worst atrocity of our time. Thanks to Gigantamax Kingler taking over the natural world in Sword and Shield, the Krabby line was banished from Gen 9, but every other Crabhammer user got to stay. To throw salt on the wound, Crabhammer's move animation uses Kingler's large claw despite Kingler not being in the game. It's okay though, Gliscor will uphold Kingler's will with its big, meaty, not crab claws.
Crab people, crab people.
This will likely be the longest point because I got a lot to talk about. Kingler is easily my favorite mon to use in competitive Gen 1. It's not an OU staple by any means, but it's such a Chad in this metagame. Kingler is defined by Swords Dance, and has the highest attack of all Swords Dance users in the game. Its +2 Hyper Beam hits as hard as a Whataburger patty melt at 3 AM, OHKOing Chansey from full health. Kingler is not that fast on its own, so it highly appreciates paralysis support. It can also spread paralysis on its own with Body Slam. Kingler's signature Crabhammer is a special attack in Gen 1, and therefore not boosted by Swords Dance. However, it's still a staple on Kingler. Thanks to the aforementioned auto crit mechanics, Crabhammer allows Kingler to muscle past certain threats that would otherwise wall it. Gengar is immune to normal moves, and Reflect lets Snorlax tank physical moves better, but Crabhammer nearly 3-hit KOs both. Rhydon resists normal, but is 360 quickscoped by Crabhammer. Not only does Kingler have the highest attack of all Swords Dancers, it also has the lowest special of all fully evolved Amnesia users, with Krabby having the lowest special of all time for this category. Krabby doesn't learn this move naturally in Gen 1, but it can receive it via breeding in Gen 2. By taking a male Quagsire that knows Amnesia, and having it spend a night of passion with a female Corsola, it can produce a Corsola that learns Amnesia. Then, you spend hours hatching a male Corsola thanks to 75% of them being female, and once the male is acquired, you have it swipe right on a female Krabby. The resulting offspring will be a Krabby with Amnesia, And after all that time is spent, you too can fail to 2-hit KO Snorlax with +2 Surf. You have to use Surf over Crabhammer because Crabhammer's critical hits ignore your stat boosts. The Krabby line are easily the worst Amnesia users in the game, but are definitely the funniest at the same time.
They just like crab, talk like people. Crab people.
This is how they walk.
Crab people, crab people.
Ash's Kingler in the original anime is cracked. He caught it as a Krabby and immediately boxed it, being negatively compared to Gary's larger Krabby. Ash's Krabby took this criticism to heart and underwent a more potent training session than Goku's trip to Namek, cause it would proceed to 1v1 an Exeggutor in the Indigo League. Krabby finally evolves into Kingler, receives a complete moveset overhaul in one turn, and 3-0 sweeps this guy's team. Also, Krabby and Kingler say this.
3 bhocolate billboards.
Crab people, crab people.
Our final point takes us to Gen 8. Kingler may have missed out on a Mega or its own Z move, but it got a Gigantamax form in Sword and Shield, and I just love this thing. We have ourselves a second Santa Claus representative, or a second Pringles mascot, take your pick. Competitively, it's not the best Gmax around, but it has some cool traits. Its signature Gmax Foam Burst is a great form of speed control, dropping the speed of both opposing mons by 2 stages when the move connects. Attack dropping with Intimidate and Max Wormwind are common in Gen 8 doubles, but Kingler's Hypercutter ability prevents its attack from lowering. This next bit isn't about Gmax Kingler, but since I'm talking about Gen 8, I wanted to bring it up. I could only find one brave soldier who ever went to a regional VGC tournament with Kingler, thanks to the LimitlessVGC.com website. Bas van der Heijden took it to the Bochum Regionals in January 2020. I got in contact with him and he was generous enough to send me his team. According to him, this was his first tournament, and the judge got a good laugh when he saw Boss's Kingler set. It was not a Gmax Kingler because Gmax Kingler was not released at the time of this metagame. He used Kingler because not only is it the best Pokemon ever, it matched up well into metagame staples Arcanine, Tyranitar, and Excadrill. Arcanine was notable because Kingler blocked Intimidate with Hypercutter and one-shotted it back with Liquidation. Wide Guard helped Kingler's allies against spread moves like Snarl, Rock Slide, etc. This was a time with closed team sheets, unlike today, so the surprise factor was big, especially with Ally Switch. Thank you, Bas van der Heijden, for the insight, and being the one crab person in all of VGC. And that's why Krabby and Kingler are my favorites, and arguably the best Pokemon of all time. If you want to see similar content to this, check out Punny88's video about Mew, and subscribe to his channel.
Crab people, crab people.
Fucking crab people got in my room. Sorry about that. The Halo 2 tier list video is almost done, and will be out this week.
We're crab people now.
We're crab people now?
Yes.
You want us to become crab people? That's your new business plan?